Hey plant lovers, welcome back to Daily Plant Life, the channel where we turn gardens into lifelong sources of food, beauty, and inspiration. If you've ever felt exhausted by planting vegetables every single season, watching them grow, harvesting, and then starting all over again, then today's video is going to change the way you think about gardening. We're diving into 12 incredible vegetables that you plant once, and then keep harvesting forever. That's right. Vegetables that return year after year, often getting stronger and more generous with time. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned gardener, these plants will transform your garden into a sustainable, self-renewing pantry. In this video, we'll explore everything from asparagus, which rewards patience with decades of spring spears, and to perennial greens like sorrel and Caucasian spinach that quietly keep coming back without much effort. Some of these plants are well-known favorites, and some are hidden gems that you'll want to add to your garden immediately. I'll explain how they grow, what makes them special, and why they are truly worth planting once and enjoying forever. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's dive into the wonderful world of perennial vegetables that make your garden work smarter, not harder. Let's get into it. Plant number 1. Asparagus. Asparagus is one of those vegetables that completely changes how you think about gardening once you grow it. When you plant asparagus, you're not planting for this year alone, you're planting for the future version of yourself. In the early years, asparagus teaches patience because it asks you to wait, and to let it grow strong underground before you enjoy the harvest. Those first seasons are all about root development, energy storage, and building a foundation deep in the soil. And while that may feel slow at first, what's happening below the surface is what makes asparagus such a powerful long-term food plant. Once asparagus is established, it becomes one of the most reliable crops you can grow. Every spring, just as winter loosens its grip, asparagus spears begin pushing up through the soil without you doing much of anything. You don't need to replant it, you don't need to baby it, and you don't need to guess when it's coming. It simply returns, year after year, right on time. A healthy asparagus bed can produce for 15 to 20 years, sometimes even longer, making it one of the ultimate plant once and eat forever vegetables. What makes asparagus even more valuable is how early it produces. When most gardens are still bare and empty, asparagus is already feeding you. That early harvest fills a gap that many gardeners struggle with, especially after a long dry or cold season. Over time, the plant becomes stronger, thicker, and more productive, rewarding you more each year for the patience you showed at the beginning. Asparagus isn't just a vegetable, it's a long-term relationship with your soil. Plant number 2. Rhubarb. Rhubarb is a plant that commands respect in the garden because it comes with clear rules and incredible rewards. The leaves are toxic and should never be eaten, but the stalks are pure value. Thick, fleshy, and deeply flavored, rhubarb stalks are what gardeners wait for every season. Once planted, the rhubarb settles in and becomes a permanent feature of the garden, often growing into massive clumps that return stronger with each passing year. One of the most impressive things about rhubarb is how early it wakes up. Long before many vegetables are ready, rhubarb pushes up its stalks confidently, signaling that the growing season has begun. It thrives in cooler conditions, making it especially valuable in climates where summer crops take longer to get going. And once it's happy, rhubarb doesn't need much attention at all. It simply grows, expands, and produces, quietly doing its job without demanding constant care. Over time, rhubarb becomes one of those plants you can truly depend on. It doesn't need to be replanted every year, and it doesn't lose strength easily. In fact, many rhubarb plants live for decades, are passed down from one gardener to the next. The longer it stays in the ground, the more generous it becomes, proving that some of the best garden harvests come from plants that are allowed to stay put and mature naturally. Plant number 3. Artichoke. Artichokes are one of the most dramatic vegetables you can grow, and they bring both beauty and function into the garden. With their large, silvery green leaves and bold presence, artichokes look more like ornamental plants than food crops. But beneath that beauty is a highly productive perennial vegetable that can feed you year after year once it's established. Growing artichokes feels less like planting a vegetable and more like adding a permanent feature to your garden landscape. When artichokes are given the right conditions, and they can produce for several years without needing to be replanted. The edible buds form on thick stems, and harvesting them actually encourages the plant to produce more. Even if the top growth dies back during extreme heat or cold, the roots often survive underground, ready to push out fresh growth when conditions improve. This ability to return from the base is what makes artichokes such reliable long-term producers. Beyond the harvest itself, artichokes contribute to the garden in other ways. Their large leaves help shade the soil, reducing moisture loss and suppressing weeds around them. Over time, they develop deep roots that improve soil structure and stability. An established artichoke plant feels strong, resilient, and self-sufficient, exactly the kind of vegetable you want when building a garden that feeds you for years instead of just one season. Plant number 4. Sorrel. Sorrel is one of those quiet garden plants that doesn't get much attention, but once you grow it, you wonder how you ever lived without it. It's a perennial leafy green that wakes up early, grows fast, and keeps coming back without complaint. Sorrel thrives in cool weather, but unlike many greens that bolt and disappear, it simply settles into the rhythm of the seasons. Once planted, it forms a dense clump that returns every year, often producing earlier than spinach or lettuce. What makes sorrel truly special is its flavor and reliability. The leaves have a bright, lemony tang that adds life to soups, sauces, and fresh dishes, and the more you harvest, the more it produces. Decutting the leaves doesn't weaken the plant. It actually encourages fresh growth from the base. Because sorrel is perennial, you're not racing against time the way you do with annual greens. You harvest when you need it, and it patiently grows back again. Over time, sorrel becomes one of those always-there plants in the garden. Even when other crops struggle or fail, sorrel keeps producing with minimal effort. Its deep roots help it survive dry periods, and its cold tolerance means it often stays productive long after other greens have faded. For gardeners who want dependable, low-maintenance food plants, sorrel is a quiet powerhouse that earns its space year after year. Plant number 5. Egyptian walking onion. Egyptian walking onions are one of the most fascinating vegetables you can grow, and they truly live up to the idea of planting once and eating forever. Unlike regular onions, these don't rely on seeds. Instead, they form small bulb clusters at the top of their stalks. When those bulblets get heavy, they bend the stalk down to the ground, take root, and walk across the garden on their own. Once you plant them, they basically plant themselves. Every part of the Egyptian walking onion is useful. You can harvest the green tops like spring onions, dig up the underground bulbs for cooking, or collect the top bulblets and use them like small onions or garlic. And no matter how you harvest, the plant keeps coming back. In fact, it often spreads so easily that you'll find yourself thinning it out rather than worrying about losing it. It's one of the most self-sustaining food plants you can grow. What makes walking onions especially valuable is their toughness. They tolerate cold, heat, poor soil, and neglect better than most vegetables. Even in difficult seasons, they return faithfully, pushing up green shoots when other crops are struggling. For gardeners looking to build resilience into their food system, Egyptian walking onions are almost unbeatable, reliable, productive, and endlessly renewable. Plant number 6. Chives. Chives are one of the simplest yet most rewarding perennial herbs you can grow. Once planted, they return year after year with minimal effort, producing vibrant green leaves that add fresh flavor to soups, salads, sauces, and almost any dish. They're not just decorative. Their delicate tubular leaves have a mild onion flavor that's perfect for everyday cooking. And the best part? Chives rarely need replanting, and they get stronger with age, forming dense clumps that continue producing for decades. Harvesting chives is effortless and endlessly productive. Snip the leaves as needed, and new growth immediately appears from the base. Even cutting heavily won't harm the plant, and it can survive both heat and cold better than many other perennial herbs. Chives also flower in the spring and early summer, in producing small purple blooms that attract pollinators and beneficial insects, helping your garden thrive while adding a pop of color. Beyond their culinary uses, chives contribute to the overall health of your garden. Their roots help improve soil structure, they repel certain pests naturally, and their perennial nature reduces the need for repeated planting. Over time, a well-established chive patch becomes a reliable, self-sustaining source of fresh flavor that quietly enhances both your kitchen and your garden. For anyone seeking low-maintenance, long-lasting greenery, chives are an indispensable addition to a perennial garden. Plant number 7. Watercress. Watercress is one of those extraordinary plants that feels almost magical in how effortlessly it grows. It thrives in moist soil or shallow water, making it ideal for pond edges, wet garden spots, or even container streams. Once established, watercress forms dense, vibrant clusters that produce continuously without needing to be replanted. Unlike many fast-growing greens that bolt and fade quickly, watercress keeps coming back, giving you a constant supply of peppery, nutrient-rich leaves. One of the best things about watercress is how quickly it regenerates. When you harvest, cutting the leaves doesn't harm the plant. It simply grows new shoots from the base. This means that even a small patch can feed you repeatedly throughout the season. Its flavor is bold, slightly tangy, and perfect for salads, soups, and sandwiches, making it a kitchen favorite that feels almost as luxurious as it is easy to grow. Beyond its productivity, watercress also improves the garden ecosystem. It shades the soil, keeps the area cool, and provides habitat for beneficial insects in wet garden zones. Over time, a healthy watercress patch becomes a reliable, self-sustaining source of greens, offering constant harvests with minimal effort. It's the kind of perennial vegetable that makes you wonder why we plant so many short-lived crops in the first place. Plant number 8. AC Kale. AC Kale, like other perennial kales, is a powerhouse of nutrition and garden longevity. Unlike annual kale that must be replanted every year, AC Kale returns season after season, thriving in both cool and moderate climates. Its leaves are thick, flavorful, and can be harvested repeatedly, and the plant grows larger and stronger over time. Once established, it becomes a permanent fixture in the garden, providing endless greens without the constant effort of replanting. The beauty of AC Kale is how forgiving it is. It tolerates frost, heat, and partial shade better than many other leafy greens, and it rarely bolts quickly, which means you can enjoy tender leaves for months. Harvesting is simple. Just snip the outer leaves and let the inner ones keep growing. The more you harvest, the more the plant produces, making it a truly renewable source of leafy greens that adjusts to your cooking schedule and garden rhythm. Over the years, AC Kale develops a strong, deep-rooted system that supports vigorous growth and resilience. It becomes increasingly resistant to pests and weather fluctuations, which makes it a cornerstone plant for gardeners who want dependable, nutrient-packed food year after year. In essence, AC Kale is a leafy green that pays you back continuously, proving that some vegetables improve with age rather than needing replacement. Plant number 9. Lovage. Lovage is one of those rare garden plants where every part can be used, and once it's in the ground, it stays with you for years. The leaves are flavorful, perfect for soups and stews. The stems add depth to stocks, and the seeds can even be harvested as a spice. Unlike many herbs that need careful tending, lovage thrives once established, spreading gently while continuing to produce harvestable greens and seeds season after season. What makes lovage so valuable is its dual nature as both herb and vegetable. The leaves emerge early in spring and grow tall, lush and aromatic, while the plant's roots remain strong underground, storing energy to fuel the next season's growth. Even harsh weather rarely stops it. Cut back the foliage, and it bounces back quickly. This resilience, combined with its multiple uses in the kitchen, makes lovage a truly versatile perennial. Over time, lovage becomes a dependable pillar in your garden. Its deep roots help improve soil structure, its tall stems can provide light shade to nearby smaller plants, and its constant production reduces the need for repeated planting. It's a garden companion that rewards patience and care, offering a living, self-renewing pantry ingredient that's as practical as it is aromatic. Plant number 10. Good King Henry. Good King Henry is one of those almost forgotten vegetables that deserves a comeback in every perennial garden. And often called a poor man's asparagus, its leaves and shoots are tender and full of flavor when harvested young. Once planted, Good King Henry becomes a steadfast resident, returning reliably year after year without much fuss. Its slow start can test your patience, but the payoff is a robust, self-sustaining plant that rewards gardeners who think long-term. The plant's longevity is remarkable. Each spring, shoots push up energetically, producing fresh leaves and tips that can be eaten raw or cooked. Over time, Good King Henry develops strong roots and thick basal growth, allowing it to survive harsh winters and dry spells. Unlike annual vegetables that need replanting each season, this plant quietly continues its work, providing a steady supply of nutritious greens for years, often decades. Beyond its culinary uses, a Good King Henry contributes to garden resilience. Its large leaves shade the soil, reducing evaporation, and its deep roots help improve soil structure, making it a perfect companion for other perennial crops. Once established, it becomes a plant you can depend on, a true plant once and eat forever vegetable that quietly enhances both your kitchen and your garden ecosystem. Plant number 11, Turkish Rocket. Turkish Rocket is an extraordinary leafy green that thrives with minimal attention. Its bold, slightly spicy leaves bring vibrancy to salads, stir-fries, and cooked dishes, and once planted, it returns season after season. Unlike many annual greens that bolt quickly or become tough in warm weather, Turkish Rocket adapts to conditions, regrowing even after heavy harvests or extreme temperatures. Once you have it in your garden, it becomes a resilient, reliable source of fresh leaves. One of the most impressive aspects of Turkish Rocket is how versatile it is in the garden. It tolerates poor soil, partial shade, and fluctuating weather better than many leafy vegetables. Harvesting is simple. Pick the outer leaves and let the inner ones continue growing, and the plant rewards you with continuous production throughout the growing season. Over time, it spreads gently, forming a dense, productive patch that rarely requires replanting. Turkish Rocket isn't just useful in the kitchen, it's a plant that strengthens your garden ecosystem. Its deep roots help prevent soil erosion, its foliage provides shelter for beneficial insects, and its resilience ensures it remains a productive presence even when other crops fail. For gardeners who want reliable, low-maintenance, and flavorful greens year after year, Turkish Rocket is a must-have perennial treasure. Plant number 12, Caucasian Spinach. Caucasian spinach, sometimes called wild spinach, is a perennial leafy green that turns patience into abundance. Once planted, it establishes deep, strong roots and produces large, nutrient-rich leaves that can be harvested throughout the growing season. Unlike annual spinach, which bolts and dies quickly, Caucasian spinach keeps coming back, growing bigger and more productive each year. Its ability to survive harsh conditions makes it an ideal choice for long-term garden planning. Harvesting Caucasian spinach is simple and rewarding. Snip the outer leaves and watch as new growth emerges from the center, ready to feed your kitchen for months. Its taste is milder than many other greens, making it versatile in both raw and cooked dishes. Over time, the plant develops a sprawling habit, covering ground efficiently and reducing the need for weeding or replanting. Beyond its harvest, Caucasian spinach contributes to garden health. Its dense growth helps retain soil moisture, suppress weeds, and provide shelter for pollinators and beneficial insects. Once established, it truly becomes a perennial workhorse, quietly producing food while enhancing the garden ecosystem. For anyone looking to grow vegetables that keep giving year after year, Caucasian spinach is the perfect example of sustainable, low-maintenance abundance. And there you have it. 12 incredible vegetables that you plant once and enjoy forever. From asparagus and rhubarb to lovage, Turkish rocket, and Caucasian spinach, these plants are not just food, and they're long-term garden companions that reward patience, care, and a little planning. Once you plant them, they quietly keep coming back, year after year, giving you fresh, nutritious harvests with minimal effort. Imagine walking into your garden and being able to pick dinner straight from the soil without starting from scratch every season. That's the power of perennial vegetables. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on growing smart, sustainable, and long-lasting gardens, make sure to subscribe to Daily Plant Life and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 12 vegetables are you most excited to grow, or which perennial favorites do you already have in your garden? Drop a comment below. Your ideas might inspire someone else to start their own evergreen garden journey. Thanks for watching, happy gardening, and remember, plant once, harvest forever.